Hi everyone, welcome back to the Etymon Project, and today we're going to be going over another NACLO problem. This one's from 2023 round 1, so the open round, and it's called Don't Stress, and it's about the Ho-Chunk language, which is around North America, and it's kind of a problem based on stress systems, so like which syllable has emphasis in the word. So yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of information at the top that you can read. It's not going to be the most important. It's kind of just explaining what stresses are. But if you don't already know, I guess I can quickly go over what this is saying. So it says stress systems give emphasis to some symbols over others. In the English word desert, the place where a cactus grows, the first syllable is stressed, so desert. And then English word dessert, the second syllable is stressed. So there are different levels of stress that a syllable can have, and they can have primary stress, so like the most emphasis on the syllable. It can also have S or secondary emphasis, so that would be like something that's not stressed the most but also not stressed the least. And then syllables with no stress are indicated with N. So as you can see in the example they give kangaroo, which has a secondary, then a no stress, then a primary. And if you kind of sound out kangaroo, you'll kind of hear where the stresses are. Okay, so then in the problem, they give us some words in Ho-Chunk that have their stresses annotated, and they have their English translation as well, but you don't need them to solve the problem. And as you can see, there's also some syllables that have two vowels, like in these ones over here. These all have two vowels, like this one, and this one. And those are just, I guess, long vowel sounds. But if the vowels are different, then the syllable is two distinct vowel sounds, so it's not just one sound together. And then it says how there's a few symbols that aren't present in English, which isn't really important to the problem, I don't think. Okay, so now we'll just go through these words and see if we can find any patterns based on where the stresses go. I would kind of say, just from a first glance, there kind of seem to be in two columns. Like these are very similar and then these are very similar. Just because I guess they kind of build on each other where like they're each like the same and then they add a new stress, but like in each column they have the same sort of stresses. And that pattern is, it starts with two non-stresses and then it goes to the primary on the third one, and that's the same thing here, and that's the same thing here, and that's the same thing here. So for words that are like these, it can be assumed that it's going to go N and P. And then after that P, there seems to be an N, like in all of these. And then after that, there seems to be an S. And then after that, there seems to be an N. So if I were to summarize this pattern, I would say that this kind of beginning is always fixed, where it's NNP. And then for the following syllables, it seems to alternate between an N and an S. As you can see, there it goes, N, S, N, and the longest one with like the most information. And that pattern holds true for like all these others. So I guess we can write that down. Starts N, N, P, and then after it alternates N, S, N, dot, 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 and continuous based on however many syllables there are. But that's only for this column. It seems like the other column has a sort of different thing going on. So if we look at that, we can figure out that this column does something very similar, where it also starts out with the same thing each time, the same sequence of NPN. And then for the last one, there's an S added. And based on the information we collected about the first column, we can kind of assume it might be something similar, where this is actually the fixed part, and then it's just an NS pattern, like NSN pattern from there. Okay, so then we can write down the rules for this column, where it starts NP and then alternates NSN like the other column. Okay, now we just need to figure out what the difference is between the two columns, and if I look at kind of the first syllable of each thing, it's kind of, I would say the answer is there. And it's especially helpful, I guess, from the description that they tell you, or they add information about the long versus short vowels, because it seems like there's all these double vowels here. So this column, as I pointed out before, like I circled all of these and they all happen to be in this column. So it seems like if there's a double vowel, then this pattern holds, and then if it's a single vowel, I guess this is also, I guess, technically a long vowel sound, and these are single vowel sounds, so maybe short. So it seems like that's going to be our rules, and now we can go ahead and look at the problem, and it sounds like we're gonna have to indicate like which stresses are for which syllables. So for the first word, it looks like they're all going to be short vowels, so we can just put in the pattern that we have of N and P. And then for the next one, these are also seem to be short vowels, so N, N, P, N, because it starts with N and P and then you alternate NSN. For this next one, it's a little bit more ambiguous because it says that the syllable combines two distinct vowel sounds. So this isn't exactly like any of the ones we've seen before, but if I had to guess between whether it follows the single vowel or the double vowel pattern, I would guess it follows the double vowel pattern just because it's two vowels, even if it's not the exact same like long sound as the ones over here. So I'm just gonna write the long vowel pattern here, which is MP and then NS after the fixed NP. Okay, next word starts with a double vowel, so we would put in the NP and then they alternate NSN, so we can just write that in. Okay, now for the last one, that's just a lot of short vowels, so we'll just write in the pattern for short vowels, which is N and P, and then you alternate NSN for the rest of the word. NS, NS. And yeah, I think that's the answers, and it's a pretty short problem, so there's only one kind of exercise you have to do. I hope that was helpful in learning about these stress problems. They're a little more like rare, I guess, but they definitely can still come up, and it can definitely get a lot more complicated with like certain types of consonants triggering certain stresses, certain accents triggering certain stresses, other types of vowel patterns. Like there can definitely be a lot more. This is a pretty simple example, but yeah, I would just recommend going through trying to figure out the patterns as always. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm definitely going to be uploading more in the next few weeks, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching.